YouTube? This your girl, a dose of Erica T. Coming to you with some more tea, another story time about the time my main met my side dude. Okay, let's get to it. I get comfortable for this. Okay, so I was about like 16 or whatever, and you know, back then, you know, when MySpace was popping at the time, right? And you know, one late night I'm laying in the bed bored, all on MySpace, and I'm, you know, see this dude hit me up, and I'm like, okay, you know, he got a nice body or whatever, but I didn't see a face pic, so I'm like, oh, okay. So he's like, you know, can we meet up? What's your name? Where you stay? You know, I ain't finna tell nobody where I stay at. I tell you, you know, probably the city, maybe, you know, the state, but not where I stay. So I'm like, you know, I stay in Georgia. He was like, oh, that's what's up, because I stay in Alabama. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, man, well, maybe we can meet up or whatever or whatnot. So he decided, you know, he's gonna come to my house. And when he came to my house, he came when it was dark. But mind you, you know, I got 2 brothers and I got a lot of boy cousins, so I wasn't worried about nothing, you feel me? So I'm like, okay, you know, we can meet up, it's whatever. So it's dark and he gets out the car and I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, you know. And mind you, it's dark, I can't see his face still. I can't see his face. So, you know, we sit down on my porch because you're not about to come to my house. So we sit down on the porch and, you know, I'm looking at him, we're conversating, but, you know, I'm still trying to see his face. So when the car, you know, the cars go by and the light shines on the face, I'm sitting there like, you know, trying to get a good look, and I'm still not catching his face. All I know, he is dark. He's dark skinned, and I ain't really into, you know, dark skinned dudes, but I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. He sounds like a nice dude. So I'm like, oh yeah, blah blah blase blase. So he was like, well, I gotta go home, and you know, I'll write you, I'll text you when I get to the house. So I was like, bet, do that, go ahead, do that. So fast forward to what, a month later I had turned 18. When I had turned 18, I decided that I was going to move to Madison, Wisconsin. Mind you, I was talking to him, we're going to call him Psycho Black. We'll call him Psycho Black. So mind you, I'm still talking to Psycho Black the whole, you know, month leading to me moving to Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm like, okay, I'm telling him, you know, I'm moving and maybe you can visit me there. We can still talk on the phone, whatever. He's like, you know, that's what's up. You know, I ain't never been there, so I wouldn't mind coming and visit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I get to Madison, Wisconsin, and I moved in with my aunt. And I worked, well, I got me a job down the street from where my aunt stayed. And when I got there, like the second day I got there, I had went to my younger aunt's house. And my younger aunt has a boyfriend at the time, and he has a brother around my age. So, you know, we walking in with groceries. It was me, my mom, and my younger aunt. We walking in with groceries. And I see him, you know, sitting on the couch or whatnot. And then, you know, I'm eyeing him. He eyeing me. I'm like, oh, okay. So we go back outside. And I'm like, asking my aunt, like, who is that? Like, what's his name? Mind you, I didn't even know he was asking about me when I went outside. So when we came back in, you know, they introduced us to, it's like, you know, Erica, this is, we're gonna call him Bernard. Erica, this is Bernard. I'm like, okay, nice to meet you, whatever. And so he was like, you know, you want to go outside and chit chat so we can get to know each other or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. So me and him get to know each other. We sitting out there talking. We exchange numbers, phone numbers. I'm feeling him. I'm like, oh, you know, he's cute. He's brown skin, long hair. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's cute or whatnot. So I go back to my aunt's house, and he decides he's gonna leave to wherever he lives or whatnot. And him and my brother had end up getting cool. Like, they got real cool, so they was hanging out a lot with each other. And you know, I'm still talking to Psycho Black way in Alabama, you know, like, what, 14 hours away, but I'm currently still talking to dude Bernard. So, you know, on Psycho Black, I'm like, you know, my phone is about to get cut off, and I'm telling him all this stuff, and he's like, well, you know, that's all right, I'll send you a phone and I'll pay the bill. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, what kind of phone you want? And I'm like, oh, it don't matter to me, you know, you can just send whatever, you know, I'm not a picky person. I mean, you are paying the bill, of course. So next thing you know, the phone comes in the mail for me. I'm like, this dude was serious. Like, he for real about this. So I'm like, oh, I'm texting him like, thank you. Oh, whoop-de-whoop. So he's like, you know, no problem. I guess he works at Verizon at the time. And so he get discounts on phones and phone services or whatever. So I'm talking to him and I'm talking to Bernard at the same time. Mind you, Bernard, I end up giving Bernard the new number that I had got. So he called and he talked all the time. He called that number and texted that number all the time. Bernard did. So one day I called Psycho Black and he was like, so I got my bill, and who is this number that keep calling you all the time and text you all the time? I'm like, what you mean? Like, you going through numbers and like, you keeping tabs on me? And he was like, nah, ain't nothing like that. It's just, I'm wondering because I don't want to look like no fool, and I'm paying your bill, and you got people call. I was like, so I can't have friends? I don't have family? Like, I don't have a best friend? Like, we can't talk all the time? Like, what is that about? He was like, oh, you know, I didn't mean to offend you like that or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you know, just cool down. Like, chill. And little did he know that it was the Bernard dude phone number that was texting, calling me all the time. So, you know, one day my brother came up to me. He's like, you know, Bernard, I don't think, you just gotta watch your back about him, because I'm hearing he's talking to some little nasty girl, ratchet, you know. So I'm like, oh, good looking, you know, because, you know, I'm 16, 17, 18. I'm not trying to get involved in nobody. I'm not even really focused on that. It's just for play for fun. You know, I'm basically focusing on myself at the time. So I'm like, good looking, you know, because I don't trust no dude. We don't trust no dude. I don't care, especially at that age. No, there's no commitment. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Because I know I'm talking to somebody else anyways, so it really don't matter. It ain't bother me. And then one day I was getting in the shower or whatnot, And I'm like looking at my phone. Somebody's blowing the phone up. I'm like, okay, like, who keeps calling me? So I jump out the shower, put the towel on or whatever, and then I'm looking at the phone. I was like, okay, it's Psycho Black calling me. So I answer the phone. I'm like, hello? And he was like, yeah, what's up? What you doing? And I'm like, nothing. I'm just getting out the shower. What up? He was like, come outside. What you mean come outside? For what? He's like, just come outside. I'm like, okay. I click, hang up the phone. I walk outside. This dude is sitting outside the apartment. First of all, I'm like, how did he, in my mind, I'm like, how did he know where I stay? Then I thought about it. I had to give my address for the phone, so I'm guessing he kept the address the whole time. So I'm confused at this point. And then he's like, are you surprised? I'm like, yeah, I'm surprised. What you mean? You just, that's 14 hours. You didn't tell me. I mean, it ain't like, okay, I'm finna go down a block or I'm finna go down the street. I'm finna go 30 minutes to surprise somebody. No, you coming to me 14-hour drive to surprise somebody. Mind you, the dude done quit his job to come there. He didn't tell none of his family members that he was coming there. And I guess his plan was to just move there with me. And I'm like, oh, you about to get a rude awakening. So I'm like, okay, I'm talking to Bernard. And I don't know how he gonna take this if he see him. So I'm like, won't you just get a hotel room and chill out for the night or whatever, because you did have a long drive. And then he was like, well, so you gonna come with me? And I'm like, later, I'll call you. I'll let you know. I'm gonna let you know because I got work. I gotta go to work. I ain't had to go to work. I'm like, I had to go to work, So he's like, okay, it's one, I passed one, down the street, and I'm just gonna go there and check in, just call me, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, you do that. So I'm like, puzzled, like, what am I gonna do? Because I don't want Bernard to see Psycho Black. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to keep them apart. I'm gonna make sure that I know where he is at all times, and I know where Psycho Black is at all times. But my brother did stay with us, so Bernard used to come over there at any given time. So my main focus was just to keep Psycho Black away. You know what I'm saying? So one day I'm like, the next day after he rested, I guess, I called him. I'm like, oh, okay, we can hang out. I can show you around and this and that. So he comes, I get in the car. He pulls out this bag with like a card and this box. And then I open the box. I mean, it's like a $300 necklace up in the box. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, dude don't care. Like, he's just spending money. I could ask him for like $100. He'll send it. Only seeing me once. I'm like, come on now. This is fake. This can't be real, right? So we drive around and then we go stop at the hotel room. And then we talking, we conversating. I'm telling him, no, I can't spend the night because I have work the next day and I can't do that. And I got to babysit. Just lying. But he don't know that. So I'm like, okay. He's like, okay, well, just call me or whatever when you can get out. And I'm like, okay. And at this time, I could really see his face. And his face was not that hot. You know, it was... He's not my type. He wasn't my type. Okay. He really looked psycho. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So he's getting ready to drop me off at my aunt's house. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm looking. I'm like, oh, they look familiar. And then as we get closer, I'm like, oh snap, that's Bernard and my brother getting out the car. So I hurry up and bend down and act like I'm tying my shoe. And he's like, what you doing? I'm like, what you mean I'm doing? I'm tying my shoe. And then he was like, oh, you gotta get that far down to tie your shoe? And I was like, and I'm getting my other stuff. Why is you worrying about me? Just worry about driving. So then I finally get up, and when I get up, I see them go into the apartment building, thinking they didn't see me. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm gonna call you when you get there. Go ahead and just go there or whatever. So I grab my clothes because I had clothes in his car. And I grab them and I open the door to the hallway. And when I opened the door to the hallway, Bernard was sitting there, all in my grill. And I'm like, he's like, so who is that? I'm like, what you mean? What you mean, who is that? He's like, who is that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Who is that you got the car with? And I was like, that was my friend. What are you talking about? He's like, well, why did you have to lie about it in the first place? I'm like, ain't nobody lying about nothing. I really didn't know who you was talking about. And he was like, so what's that in your hand? So I'm trying to hide the bag of clothes behind my back. And he just snatched the clothes out of my hand and he tear them up, and my clothes just go everywhere, all around the hallway. I'm all embarrassed and stuff. And he was like, you think I'm stupid? You think I'm stupid? You know, backing me up against the wall. And I'm like, stunned at this point, like, what? And he like punching the wall, and I'm ducking and dodging, like, hold on, like, is he gonna hit me? So he punching the wall, his knuckles getting bloody. And then all of a sudden my cousin, she opens the door because she hears the noise in the hallway, and she was like, Erica, you okay? And I'm like looking at her like, help me. And he turns and slams the door in her face. Next thing you know, she's back in my face, and I look over, my aunt then bust through the door like, who you think you is? I think you done forgot who you talking to. And he's like, no, blah, blah. She was like, I suggest that you leave. I think you done lost your mind. And he was like, well, I think I have. She was like, well, you better go, you know. So I'm like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know what kind of situation I got myself into. And then that night, Psycho Black done called me and was like, so who was dude that all in your face? I'm like, what you mean, dude, that was all in my face? I didn't know he was outside the whole time listening. So I'm like, it's over. Like, both of them know about each other. There ain't no sense of lying no more. Like, this is just, it's got out of control. I don't even know how to handle the situation no more. So he's like, so is that the number that was calling you all the time? I'm like, yeah, it was him. I mean, he liked me, but it wasn't nothing like that. And he got silent. And I'm like, so why are you so quiet? He was like, no reason. Click. girl, she was scared. I'm like, this dude, I'm finna lock all these doors, make sure all the windows, everything is closed, because I know he know where I stay. And we stayed on the first floor, so he can get in. He come after you, girl. So I'm like, oh no. So I'm calling him back, like, you know, he's not answering the phone. Then finally he answered the phone, and he was like, what? And I'm like, so why you just hang up like that? He was like, I ain't got nothing else to say to you. And I'm like, okay, so what? You want your phone back? You want your stuff back? He was like, yeah, I want it back. So I'm like, okay, I have it ready. I have all your stuff ready when you get here. He was like, fine then. Click. I'm like, this dude is psycho. Like, he's psycho because he looks psycho. And I'm scared at this point, so I don't know what to do. So what I did was, you know, I delete all my little numbers out the phone. I delete my little text messages. I delete my little emails. You know, I deleted it all. Then, you know, I got his charger. You know, I made sure I had all the stuff that he done gave me. He done bought me, except for the money, because that was long gone. But the physical stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm getting all his stuff. And then he calls and was like, I'm outside. I'm like, okay. So he decides to park way in the back, in the cut. And mind you, it's dark outside. I can't see nothing. The lights are off. And you expect me to be stupid enough to walk to the car and give you this stuff? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So what I'm finna do is, I'm finna drop all your stuff off right here by this door, because the door locks behind you and you have to have a key in order to get in. So I'm finna put all your stuff right here on the ground. I was like, right here. Dropped it, hurry up and close the door. And I walked into the house. And then I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with this dude. I don't know if he finna come up in here. I don't know if he try to bust the window. I don't know what's going on. So I'm like praying, like, oh, I don't know why I messed with somebody that was so psycho. So next thing you know, I had ended up getting another phone from somebody else. That's another story. But I ended up getting another phone. And then he was like, I guess somebody gave him my number off of Facebook or MySpace or something. And he writes on his MySpace, he hope I die, this and that and the third. And I'm like, okay, I know officially this dude is psycho. He is. And I don't want anything to do with him. So block. And somebody gave him my number, managed to give him my number, the new one that I had. So I guess he had his sister call me one day, well, months later after this happened, talking about, oh, he Psycho Black getting married and this and that. He just wanted you to know that he's over you and all this and the third. I'm like, okay, I'm very happy for him and I'm glad to know that, but I have nothing to do with his new relationship or the past one, obviously. And I haven't talked to him in months, so I don't understand why he will have you call me. So, thank you for letting me know. Click. I'm done with that situation. I'm done. So then, a couple hours later, he texts me talking about who all these dudes just writing your phone, this and that and this and the third, and they talking about this. I was like, okay, first of all, I know you lying, because the only dude that had that number was the dude that I told you about, and he obviously knows that I have a new number because he's calling me now. Click. I guess that made him mad, because he kept calling, he kept texting. But you know what your girl did? I called and got his number blocked. So now he has no understanding where I stay. He doesn't know my number. He's blocked off my Facebook and MySpace. And ever since then, I haven't heard anything from him. I don't know. I mean, you know, young girls really have to understand that meeting guys offline is not cool, because you don't know. You never know if they're psycho. You don't know what's wrong in their head. Like, who drives 14 hours to come and surprise somebody for a surprise visit and quit their job at that? A good job? A psycho. A psycho does that. But you know what? Your girl learned from that situation. Never again. Never again. Well, that's the end of my story time. And if you want more story time from your girl, Dose of Erica T, then thumbs up and subscribe. Deuces. See you later.